There it is,
Yep,
Hibana.
there you go.
So actually taking Hibana out instead of the Thermite, as you mentioned, because it's easy to do the impact grenade to destroy the exothermic charge.
Exactly. So first ban from the NIP, most likely Doka. Oh, Blackbird.
Interesting.
Interesting, indeed.
Could possibly be a counter ban to Nip in particular, or maybe just that or a counter ban to Fnatic. My apologies, but it could also be a scenario where they just don't want to play against it. Mira will be taken out. That's no real surprise there that Mira doesn't make it past the ban phase.
Well, Mira and Echo has been the main targets from the defensive side for NIP, so it's quite normal for them to take it out.
We're just waiting on the last one. So Fnatic will be starting on defense, and they're going to pick which operator they don't want to really play with for the next 5 rounds. On a map such as Clubhouse, wouldn't be a surprise to see an Echo, wouldn't be surprised to see a Maestro. Can't really consider anything outside of that, but an Alibi. We do know that Nip does play Alibi, so this is not out of the ordinary to possibly take an Alibi out. We've actually seen a couple teams in Latin America ban an Alibi when dealing with Nip, as Nip appears to be one of the few teams that actually runs her and her decoys.
Yeah, I would say Alibi most of the time is just laziness of droning if you need to ban it, because if you drone it out, you most likely know where all the decoys are, and you can tell them to your team, and they are not doing anything. But if you're lazy on the droning, Alibi can be pretty destructive. So
a good gun to boot. In addition to that as well, you have access to the impact grenades as well. She's a very good roamer, but a lot of times teams will often run Vigil in place of Alibi because he, at the moment, appears to be one of the best at doing his job of pure roaming.
Yeah. Well, there we see the 6-pick coming in. It's Montaigne for WAG and Maestro for the Fnatic. And it's going to be the cast room / server room.
So you were right about the site. You were just
wrong about the team.
Wrong about the team, but that's but that is okay. Monty is currently the most, I guess, applicable shield operator that we see in the game. It was Blitz for quite a while, but I feel like Montaigne has come back in a big way. But there really wasn't many changes to either of them, so it's always one of those things that is a bit, I wouldn't say confusing, but it's always really interesting with the fact that Blitz just all of a sudden one day just isn't getting ran as much as he used to, and now Montaigne is back in a big way.
It kind of makes sense because Montaigne is a moving drone pretty much. If you have a like IGL or someone who's really good at calling, playing the Montaigne, he can relay the information to his team. Where are the enemies, where are the gadgets, all that information. Whereas Blitz, you need to be more careful. And also we have problem with the Blitz shield that it's not that predictable. Sometimes it leaks, even when you're facing the enemies, so Montaigne is more safer pick.
Absolutely. And we'll see how he can get used here. Now, this position that we see Magnet currently playing on the catwalk inside of Garage, he's situated with not just a mute jammer, but also you can see he's got 2 ADSs laying at his feet, so he can't get pushed as easily. You mentioned how crucial it is to fight for the Garage, and well, here you have it. They'll have to use 1 exothermic charge to open up part of that Garage, which means that the utility that will remain for the Thermite will likely go upstairs on that wall, on the server wall at least. If not, possibly in the Garage where Rizraz is currently sitting, if they opt to go that route.
Exactly. You need to start from the Garage wall or the server wall with the Termite, because there's always the possibility that your Termite dies, so opening the Garage first is a safe bet. Now he can, well, there he goes, rotates to the server wall, and now it's all about the Montaigne class push to the Garage to try to take it from the enemy team.
One thing that the Alibi ban does is allow us to have both a Maestro as well as an Echo on the board. Rizraz playing in that powerful position by the Garage window will get kill number 1. It's PZD, the sledge will be gone, and here comes the Montaigne being escorted by a drone, but there's 2 to double up on him. There's a Glass positioned at the doorway trying to get a couple shots through those slats, but as you can see, Psycho not able to land what he needs to. He sees the head for just a second as he pushes in, but the Montaigne taking some damage. One member of Fnatic, that's Neophyter, will show himself. And as the Evil Eye overheats, Psycho has taken about 20 damage or so. We see that he's also trying to work away at Magnet, but both Magnet and Rizraz are still up top. The Thermite has worked his way in the Garage, and the Montaigne doing as best as he can to try and keep the Glaz from pushing it.
As you can see, the Garage is so crucial. Already 2 minutes spent, and NIP made a mistake with a PCD pushing into the Garage before the Montaigne was there. And there goes Psycho by Rizraz. So this is painful, but really painful for the NIP.
Rizraz gets his third kill, and you can see the Evil Eye now trying to work on the Montaigne. Rizraz will get a fourth on the Vogue. Last one left is Lion, and Aces with the Evil Eye will steal Rizraz's ace. Fnatic will take round number 1, and always nice to see that as the Lion getting softened up right as the Evil Eye overheated.
Yeah, that's so painful to be alone, alive, when Evil Eye is shooting you to the back. But I would say it all came down to miscommunication with NRP. The sledge, which was played by the PCD, pushed into the garage or next to the breach wall in the garage way before. You need to push the Montaigne first to relay the information where the people are, and then take the fire into the Montaigne, and then push with the glass, then push with the sleds and try to nade the guys from upstairs. Of course, they have the ASDs there, but still, you need to have the communication and coordination to push into the garage.
And you saw that everything that Nip had stalled out on the stairs of that garage. I don't think a single member of that team made it more than a step above the very top of the stairs. They didn't even begin to work away at the actual site because the way that Fnatic was playing to push them back. And I mean, the only person who died from Fnatic that whole time was Neophyter, who made the mistake of rotating through the open hole that they had in the garage wall while the glass was in the midst of smoke.
Exactly. And then we go to the master bedroom, gym area next, which was quite expected. And this wall is the crucial wall in this map. When you reinforce it, you can pretty easily hold it with impact grenade, because there is that small gap between the reinforcement and the top of the ceiling. So you shoot the pieces out with your shotty, and then you just hold it with impact grenade. It's almost impossible for the attacking team to open up that wall if the castle, in this case, with the impacts, is doing his job properly.
So all designed to waste as much utility as possible, and then of course the deployable shield being there. So if you bandit trick it, you can have somebody on the other side possibly laying those charges down. Now of course there's no bandit available. They're running a mute instead. The second time that Fnatic will be trotting out the mute, an operator who doesn't really get their time in the sun in comparison to others.
Yeah, but mute is, you cannot let mute down. Like, he still denies a lot of roaming, so he's a good pick all the time. We see him quite a bit in Europe, I would say, but not that much in the other regions. But I'm always up to bringing mute on my team, so it's good up. And here we see the Fnatic preparing the cast room. I'm actually surprised they're not even trying to hold the garage by any means, but they are gonna have their first line of defense on the cast room, and now NIP will get the garage/server room quite easily.
And this is where Fnatic would somewhat fall off, at least concede that entryway point. You can see there's 3 bodies from Nip stacked up. Now we'll be joined by a 4th as the Ash of Psycho jumps down. Magnet losing a couple portions of his health as the Dokubi's DMR just picks away at his foot through the drone hole. It's allowed Psycho to really push in, and Magnet's not going to be fully healed to engage in this fight. 1 exothermic charge will go off. No real opportunity for Magnet to be able to do much with that, and you can see Fnatic is going to completely fall back. It's taken about 90 seconds for Nip to get to this point.
Yeah, Nip is taking way too much time when Fnatic is actually giving them ground. That should have been taking like 30 seconds to take the server and the garage, and then push to the guys on the server, so they are wasting a lot of time at the moment.
Now Neophyter is the one playing inside a cash room, so even though they've gotten that wall open, they are still fully committed. It looked for a second that Vogue was going to be able to get that last exothermic charge, but these are just on periphery sites. They're fighting over the cash room, so once again, Fnatic keeping Nip at bay, but Psycho is just going to sprint right in, and he's going to get 2 with PZD jumping into the fray. So time management be damned. Nip takes the fight to them, leaving just Aces and Lusty left with a minute to go, but at least it's a smoke and an echo that you can pin your hopes on.
Yeah, they should have, like, they were missing the guy from the workshop, so PCD was actually able to, it was Psycho was able to jump into the workshop and flank the guys in the cash room, got pretty much 3 kills because he also downed the 3rd player, but PCD got the kill for the last one, so really nice play from Psycho.
Just Ash doing Ash things, very similar to what we just saw from Waka in our very first match of the day. Now with Aces having 2 Yokai drones, the 3 deceased members of his team will be able to hopefully relay that info, aiding Aces and Lusty. But 20 seconds, EE1D will signal the push, and they're going to be greeted by 2 members in towards Master Bedroom. They're going to sledge away at a wall, and it looks like Aces goes for two. He'll get them, but Psycho will leave him last alive, and Julio with the cleanup. A good bounce back from Fnatic in the making, but cannot get what they need to do as Nip just using that numbers advantage to storm the gates, and they'll even things up.
Exactly. Those are the rounds you cannot lose when you have the 5 versus 2 situation. You have the dog heavy up, you have a sledge coming from the back, so it's no-go for the Fnatic at that point. So nice execution from NIP in the end, but still a bit too much time wasted.
Now, do you think that if Fnatic had fallen off of CCTV a little faster after giving the 90 seconds away that they, or taking 90 seconds away from Nip, that they possibly could have salvaged that round? Because they kept all those bodies inside of Cache, and then Psycho just killed them all.
I was actually surprised when the Termite started to open the wall. Fnatic just stood there in the cache room.
Right.
They should have fought back to the workshop at least with 1 people, so you have some kind of cover to the guys inside of the cache room. It didn't happen, and they paid the price as a round.
We see another 6 pick from Ninjas in Pyjamas back to the Montaigne. So both Monty picks that we've seen have been complete surprises, and Fnatic is going to have to prepare their defenses without that information readily available. They'll go back to Master Bedroom. Things to change this time outside, anything that you saw in particular, outside of them falling off of Cache faster.
From Fnatic's side, yeah, falling down from the cache faster, but I would also challenge the garage, because if you challenge the garage or you challenge the servers, you are actually wasting the time, so you don't let him come in there fast. So you don't need to like fight for your life in the garage, but just show your presence. Shoot a couple of shots, fall back, then stay in server, shoot a couple of shots, fall back. You're wasting time all the time you're doing that.
It's that uncertainty that we've seen from a couple different teams before, where you might try to go for a flank, get a couple shots off, make your presence known, and then fall off. So they have to now consciously remember, hey, there might be someone behind me at any opportunity. Not letting anybody basically have that state of mind, and essentially living rent-free in their mind to know, I always need to check if somebody is behind me. Now, they are once again holding Cache quite heavily, but Nip is not, at the moment, stacking up in that particular direction. You've got a lot of presence on the roof. It looks like they might actually just go through that study or office, as that's where currently 3 members of NIP are, as they all just drone away, but nobody at the moment is pushing alongside these drones.
Yeah, NIP saw last round that the Fnatic wants to hold the cache room quite heavily, so they are trying to go from the other route. But the problem with the stats is that Julio is going with a Termite to the wall that we were talking just round before, and he wants to open that, but it's almost impossible to do it, except that the castle is at the wrong place at the time, so he might actually be able to pull it off.
It actually looks like 3 members of Fnatic that are currently holding inside of the security area, as Magnet will get first kill on the PZD. That's the sledge down. Wog will see the Yokai drone and drop his shield to take care of it, but that appears to be all the remote gas canisters from Lusty. Magnet will get one of his own onto Psycho, as the second Yokai drone will get tagged in and move towards the Master Bedroom. So they managed to bait out 3 of those toxic babes and one of the Yokai drones, but Wog trying to get knocked out. Rizraz will get very aggressive, dispatch Kamikaze. Wog drops his shield to try and get a shot in, but it's an act of desperation. It's just him and Julio, and of course, Amonte in a 1vx scenario when the diffuser isn't down is not usually good for the attack.
Not by any means. And it's so messy at the moment. Like, NIP got a hold of the office, but they didn't do anything about it. You have the Montaigne just push for the information, have the guys push with the Montaigne, and not fall to the flanks, like we saw in the glass dying.
Now Julio is a great shot. Lusty will take out Vog, and Neophyter dispatching Julio, as Fnatic will answer back in a back-and-forth contest where each team not able to put a consecutive round on the board, and they just collapsed on them. So Fnatic, assessing that the push is going to come from office, they make the rotate about halfway through the round and change it up to push in towards office and try to keep Nip from getting any more ground.
Yeah, and they had the holes from the office wall towards the cache room, so the 2 guys in the cache room, they were kind of off position, but they had the angle to the office, and they were able to pick off the glass. You have Montaigne and glass, and that's the 2 operators you want to push with, but if your glass dies, it's going to be harder because you cannot see through the smokes that you're throwing out with the Montaigne and your glass, so yep.
And of course, the sledge being the first one to go, not exactly detrimental. Now, we do know that Fnatic will almost always run a Jaeger, so grenades, of course, will, they won't. You can stop worrying about grenades now, as Jaeger would say. So to lose the sledge early on was more just the brute force ability of the hammer to be able to knock down those soft walls, and then of course have the fragging potential along with it. We might actually be seeing a Frost get trotted out here, and indeed we will, as Magnet will 6th pick onto our favorite Canadian trap operator.
Yeah, we will see the Frost trap most likely going to be placed under the windows. And they will have the garage defense again, so they're going to reinforce the garage, reinforce the servers. So this is going to be most likely pretty similar to the first round we saw. And Fnatic is going to hold the garage pretty heavily with 2 people. There might be 1 people at the lounge area, just giving some crossfire and checking that no one is sneaking from there below the guys that are on the balcony of the garage. And then you have the rest of the 2 guys playing near the side of the server wall or the cash room. Interesting. There is no bandit, there is no mute for Fnatic, and that might actually be paying them into the butt later, because Fnatic, NIP can now actually go straight to the server wall, open it straight up, and pretty much start to push either the guys on the server, the cast room, or they will have the angle to the guys at the balcony of the garage, and that's going to be painful to hold the garage when you have angles to the balcony from other way of the map.
And for me, when you're looking at the Frost pick here, the theory behind it, in my opinion, as to why we would have a Frost on the board is to try and bait out the Montaigne. But you can see there's no Montaigne being ran from Ninjas in Pyjamas, which is the first time they're going to attack CCTV without it. Now, by virtue of the way that the site rotation works, you don't. You can go back to CCTV, but you called it absolutely correctly. A lack of bandit and a lack of mute just means that that wall is a freebie. They can just completely take it, and now that's going to mean that all of CCTV is going to have to be vacated by Fnatic. So still, they're going to have to try to work on, if you're Ninjas in Pyjamas, you still got to work on Garage, though, because you still have that window in Garage, which Magnet has control of and can use. The good news for Fnatic is there's no glass, so I don't think Magnet has to worry too much about being shot through those metal panels.
The problem now is that there is Sophia on the field and Ashe on the field, so they can go to the server wall at the moment, CCTV wall, and they can shoot the wall between the CCTV and Garage balcony and make a hole there and go shoot the Frost from the hole that they have. They actually have a rotation hole there, but they could make it bigger, move closer to the wall and kill the Frost from the garage, and after that the garage is pretty much free.
Rizraz, who is either playing in Adam or by the stairs, had moved his way towards Lounge and gets taken out of action about 90 seconds in by Kamikaze the Lion, who will open things up here. You can see Jaeger downed by the Lounge/garage door, and of course that's just a roamer that would just buy time. Usually we would see somebody playing on those stairs to make sure that nobody could possibly push in, but you called it. Psycho just holding an angle just like Vitality would, waiting for 2 minutes for the Frost to pop up, and Magnet just gets obliterated.
And that's the main reason you need to have the bandit on this map. You need to hold that wall as long as possible so that that doesn't happen. When that wall gets opened, you lose the garage most of the time, and that happened again. Now, NIP can just move on from the garage, from the wall, and start their push to the side and for the plant.
Now Psycho, of course, one of the most proficient fraggers in all of Latin America, often overshadowed by certain other Ashe players in Brazil, but can do a lot of damage with that R4C and the speed that comes with it. Currently in a 5v3 in favor of Ninjas in Pyjamas, as they've opened up the wall, they can begin to start their assault. Of course, you've got Vogue holding onto that diffuser. Those ADSs will be in vain inside of the garage. Ace is flashed. He's got the LMG played up, and you'll just see all the utility from PZD will be dumped in. But Aces gets one. Psycho is aware that there's one playing on stairs. Julia will take out Neofighter. Plant going down somewhat successfully, but no, Aces sees him. Aces coming in. Can he get it? 2 big kills from Aces. He sees another. A third. Aces. Oh my goodness! In a 1v1. Ew, he's still got the diffuser to work through. Julia will now watch. And who's going to prevail in this fight? A Sledge versus the Maestro. Any intel from Fnatic right now could possibly be going. But look at this. 1 frag grenade remaining from Julio, and he's priming it on the diffuser. He'll toss it out, and Aces, will he live? He'll get off the plant. The Maestro will shoot away at the wall. This is a bad position, but Aces, oh my god, how does this happen? Oh my word, Aces a huge clutch, and he'll get the diffuser. Fnatic, my god. What a round.
What a round. To be honest, the plant shouldn't have even gone down, but it went, but he was able to clutch it anyway. What a round.
Oh my goodness. Ace is living up to his name. What a performance in that round in particular.
Aces will actually have to fight for that Aces spot. Which Aces is the better one?
Yeah, aces from Orclus as well. What an incredible comeback. A round that Fnatic had zero business winning. Massive oversight with the Mutant Bandit not being on the board, as you called it, but they still somehow managed to make it work.
Yeah, that was round for NiP to win, and they just threw it, pretty much. Even in the end, like, I think Sledge had a pretty much too much pressure, because if you cook the grenade and toss it to the plant, you get the kill, but he didn't cook it, just threw it there. Tried to play with that he cannot defuse, because you have the 5-second cooldown on the grenade before it explodes, and he tried to push with that, but I think the better call would have been to just cook it and try to get the kill, but aces.
What? He shows up. Oh my. So Fnatic now, that's a round 2. Let's talk about motivation here, because I've never played this game at this level. This happens to your team. How much of a boost and an uplift does this carry over into subsequent rounds for you?
Whenever you see your teammate clutching out those amazing rounds, of course it's going to boost the whole team. It's going to bring up the confidence up, and everyone is like, "Whoa, I want to do the same thing." So yeah, it's a huge thing. But I would even say it's worse than for the enemy team, because that was a round to win, and they threw it. So that's kind of depressing, but you just need to forget it, take it round by round. That's the only way to go forward. So if you're not able to do that, it's game over.
What happened with Psycho is my big question right now. You've got the Ashe crouched by that giant hole that you've opened up in the server wall, in the CCTV wall. You hear this lumbering 3 armor running at you. As the defuse is going down, you've also got coverage inside a garage, and nobody is looking towards the CCTV stairs.
Like, I don't know why the Ashe went to push, because you only need to hold the angle towards the door. You see, like, Master play, I play that spot. So when the Master tries to come from there, you just hold the angle and pick him off, but you don't need to peek. Sometimes it's too tempting to go for the pick. But now we see the downstairs bomb site. This is that used to be the bomb site to go. It's a lot harder now to hold, because there's the blue staircase added, and teams usually open up the tunnel like NIP has done so far, so they put pressures there. They want to open the kitchen hats, and once they have the kitchen hats, the garage, you can put guys to the blue tunnel as well, and you can do a 3-side push at the same time, and it's really hard to defend that as a defender on the basement bomb site at the moment.
Ace is getting a bit too excitable, throwing his impacts out a bit too early. Now, of course, impacts do 60 damage to 3 speeds, but you've got the Montaigne there. You could have taken a little bit of a chunk of his health away, but threw them a bit too early. You've got Psycho playing this very tight angle, looking through the wooden beams.
And also, I think the impacts were there to deny the kitchen hatch opening, but now they are gone, so they actually cannot deny the hatch anymore. So NIP will have 3 kitchen hatch. They are looking at with drones, trying to see if there's anyone below, trying to deny it, but there's no impact, so they will get the hatch.
There was, however, a couple of players from Fnatic playing above inside of Cache, so could potentially be trying to watch the hatch from above. Julio only has 1 exothermic charge left, though. Last smoke will get tossed out, and NiP will see if they can begin to push here.
There's 4 players on the side, so 1 is roaming indeed, but this is the push we want to do with the Montaigne and glass. Smoke it off, push with the Montaigne, push with the glass. It's super annoying to deny.
So now just as you said, Psycho just takes Ace's head right off. They've also got the kitchen hatch, so very good control at the moment for NiP, and the job of defending will get even more uncomfortable as there goes first EE1B. Psycho will get a 3rd now as he is just in full control. Vog will push into blue and try to keep Fnatic from being able to retake and just barricade them out. Neofighter and Rizraz, last 2 left. Both were roaming though, and you can see one playing at the bottom of stairs. Psycho with a 4th for Rizraz, and this is just a streak of individual performances. Look at Psycho scouring the earth for the final target. That's Neofighter. Will he be able to get it? Now it'll be Kamikaze, and that is NiP with a very strong performance on round number, was that round number 5? And that is the half. That is the first half going 3-2 in favor of Fnatic, though. We'll switch sides.
That's the power of glass right there. When you have the glass and you have the smokes, you can do that. You smoke it off and push inside of the smokes and just pick the defenders out 1 by 1. And you know Psycho is playing the glass. He always does. So you might want to think about banning it. Although, I got to say, they didn't play glass against us in Valencia at all. So maybe this is the key they needed.
And I've noticed that they'd actually taken Psycho off, because I mean, everybody, everybody at least that I know that watches Black Dragons will recall how Psycho did as Glaz during that Season 6 LAN finals. He was just tearing everybody to pieces, showing the power of Glaz. Of course, now Glaz is a little bit more recoil and kick with his gun, but I believe a faster fire rate to trade it off. And of course, now the Evil Eyes are more of a hard counter for Glaz, or at least somewhat of a counter to him. But he's been playing Ashe, and he's been playing other more utility-based operators, at least over the last little while. It's nice to see him back on the Glaz, because I think a lot of people would probably put him in the upper echelons of Glaz players, if not the best overall.
Yeah, and it's working, so stick with it. Now we go for the Master Gym from the NIP side. This was the second best side for a lot of teams before, but now that there is the impact rate realized for the teams, this is for some teams the go-to side, so I'm not surprised that they actually started from here. They will go for the cash room like Fnatic did, and I'm actually interested to see if they're going to try to hold the garage, or if it's going to be a freebie for Fnatic.
I think you called it right. You did call that when Nip would go on the defense, they would start here on either Master or CCTV. Supernova coming out for Vogue on his Echo will be not outside of the norm. I mean, with Mira being banned, you usually need that second Destructor, right? A lot of times, you mentioned it in the very first match of the day, that a lot of times the Bailiff from Maestro can work in a pinch. Of course, there would be no other real caliber-based destruction from the defense outside of Vogue's Supernova, because there is no Maestro on the board, and then of course Psycho's impact grenades are likely going to be used to stop that thermite charge, as you mentioned.
Exactly. Personally, I feel like if you need the second shotgun, it's usually for just a couple holes, so impact grenades can do the same thing, or you can do it with the Maestro or with the Valkyrie Deagle. So the shotgun for Maestro, Echo, is not that good of a pick, because the MP5 is still with an ACOG, so you can actually challenge those long-range angles to strip clock from the roof or from the server window. So I would keep with the MP5, but it's personal preference, and they made the holes with the shotty, so maybe they feel they actually need it. But yeah, here we have Fnatic taking the CCTV server side and doing the push to the cash room. So nice shot from ACs from the workshop window. And this is the angle you need to have. And oh, that wall is not reinforced. That's going to be painful, because now they have the angle towards the CCTV, and there goes Kamikaze by Magnet. So 2 frags already for Fnatic. This push is working really nice, and PCD is super low on the HP at the moment.
And there's going to be another now. Psycho comes up, but there's 2 from Psycho. He's fragging on both sides of the field. Rizraz and Lusty, the Thermite and the Zofia. Now, the Thermite being gone is going to be a thorn in Fnatic's potential side, depending on whether Lusty was able to do the renovation work that he needed to do to get towards the site. PZD looking for a reset, and there he goes. He'll get it through the through the drywall.
You can tell he didn't have the white lines on.
Some players not playing with player models or player outlines on, just because of distractions, some would say, and that's why there does tend to be an interesting amount of possible team kills, and people wonder why, and it's because sometimes you actually don't have those outlines on.
Usually fraggers play without the outlines, and the IGLs or callers play with the outlines on, because you can actually see your whole team.
Right.
So that's pretty much how it goes. So you have 2 kind of people in your team.
So final 30 seconds of round number 6. The first round of our second half here. Fnatic holding a lead, but PZD holding an angle onto the window. Just threw the bomb in the bedroom. A grenade will sail by, though, and take out a chunk of his health, just a tiny bit. He'll try to return fire, but that carbine will just bobble over the head. Psycho jumps out, gets hit by a Claymore, but takes Aces down. And Rizraz from the grave will get 1. But it puts us at a 2v2, and the time running out right now. Wong picks up a double kill to finish the round and will equalize, putting us at 3v3. Look at this. He doesn't need that MP5, as you suggested, and he has the Bearing 9 to do it for him.
That's also a perfect lineup for him. So when the time ticks out and you jump in from the same window with 2 guys, that's a possibility. So maybe you take the other window and I take the other window. So we actually don't get light up, but that happens.
And they were playing Vogue in a position where he could only take really closer range fights. And I mean, if you're not going to be running the ACOG, then you might as well put it in a close quarters scenario, because the Supernova is not a bad shotgun. We don't often see it for its, killing potential. It's usually just there for the ability to create rotate holes, etc. But the Bearing 9 is a pretty lethal weapon.
Bearing 9 is really lethal. It's pretty much SMG 11 or 12. Not quite there, but just falls a bit under those, so you can actually make a lot of plays with that. And the shotgun, like you said, it's one shot to the body from close range, so if you play a perfect position, you can actually take down players quite easily. This is actually surprising. NIP goes to the basement as a second side and not for the cash room, so is it too off throw Fnatic, or do they actually feel that this is the better side than the cash room?
Now, you touched on how the staircase into blue has made holding the downstairs much more difficult. Is it just simply that there's too many areas for them to cover? What are your exact thoughts on why that has fundamentally changed the downstairs side? Because that was the only change to the basement.
Yeah, like before, if you wanted to enter the blue area, you had to go from the garage and walk through that long tunnel.
Right.
Or you had to drop from the hatch, which is really painful because usually there used to be a mirror window watching that hatch. But now when there is the staircase, you can pretty much just walk through the staircase and take control of the blue. You have Sophia's stun or Ash the flash or whatever. It's pretty easy to actually take the blue control. So once you have the blue, you have the angles to church, to armory, and you get a lot of angles covered, so you can make your push either from the church, from the dirt tunnel, or from the kitchen hatch after that.
And also in conjunction with the fact that Master as well as the cash room are much better to defend than they were, it's kind of pushed down its priority as one of the defensive sides, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we will expend about a minute of round number 7. Ninjas and Pyjamas going to see how well they can do on defense. Right now, it has been a defensive-sided affair. 4 of the 6 rounds have gone in favor of the defenders, and if you're Nip, you are hoping that that trend line will continue because we'll give you the victory on the map. You've got Vogue playing downstairs, and he's got a yokai drone there scouting alongside with Psycho.
And Kamikaze is actually roaming on the cash room area, so they have the Vigil to actually deny the drone power of Fnatic, or just messing up with their heads that Vigil might be roaming. Is it downstairs? Upstairs? That's kind of hard. But how are they? Nice default throw from Julia to take out Magnet, and there goes Julia for a Neophyter. This should not happen. You don't allow them to just walk into the site. This is pretty much a free plan for Fnatic at the moment. Kamikaze takes out Rizraz. And there goes Kamikaze by Neo. This is just a shootout.
They have complete control of the back of Arsenal room at the moment. Psycho trying to take out the Capitao. He will. Neo Fighter with the 2 kills for Fnatic will be no longer. That leaves Aces and Lusty last alive. Now, they had full control, but the diffuser was nowhere nearby. Of course, that's Lusty, who's currently pinned down in Dirt Tunnel. You can hear a couple shots are being fired towards his direction. Aces is in sight, though, and I don't know what Lusty is trying to do. They know that the yokai drone is in play, as Lusty had just seen it. They still got 45 seconds, so this was brisk by Fnatic.
Yeah, they had the control. They have a guy below the kitchen. They have a guy in Dirt Tunnel. They had the guys in blue, and at the Arsenal room, just go in and blend. Maybe he was scared he was missing some information or the call to come in and blend. Maybe it was miscommunication, but he should have gone into the site and do the blend.
And they can get the plan off at any point, but wary of the holes from above. Lusty will crouch walk his way towards the bomb. He can begin to plant at any point. That defuse can go down. Ace is just standing right by, and there we go. There goes the plant. If the yokai drone is still in play, this can be huge, but Aces will have to cover for the rotate. The Thermite of Lusty getting down. Aces sees one, goes for a shot, but can't land it. He's tagging a lot, but cannot get the kill he needs. Defuse is successful, but Lusty will be obliterated by PZD, and then Aces will get finished off as well. So Fnatic's post-plant coverage not up to snuff. Nip will take the lead for the first time today after a very odd rush into the back of site by Fnatic.
I actually think the Vigil was the reason why Fnatic was so scared, because they tried to drone the Vigil all the time, but they couldn't find him. They only saw that the Vigil is somewhere around, so maybe they thought that it's either in the dorms, mastery gym, or a kitchen area. Because when Lusty actually went to the plant, he wasn't. He was scared. You could see it. He tried. What's the hatch? He watched the holes made next to the hatch, and that's the place you want to actually plant, next to the black cabinet. But he was too scared to do it, so he had to pick that like bad spot to plant. And it was after that just easy pickings for the NIP, because they knew both of the guys are going to be in the corner. So. Easy retake.
Easy retake, indeed. And I don't know what the hesitation was from Lusty, though. You know, Aces was firmly in sight. He had control. They had the back of Arsenal. Now, they obviously knew that somebody was going to be rotating to blue, and that was the right call. It was PZD. playing as the Ella had taken control of blue, and at that point you needed to, because I mean, where else are you going to go? You can't stack 3 bodies inside a church.
Now we see a Capcan from Psycho. This is like the other team plays first and the other team plays Capcan, so interesting picks coming out from both teams. But I got to say, this is I want to see where they use the Capcan, because there's not that many doorways you can actually use it properly, or windows, so they might put them in the lounge area to actually get some information if someone is coming from there, or to the mastery side like he's doing, to get some notice if someone is walking there, so that they will hear the explosions and get the early warning that someone is coming from that area.
Also, one thing to make note of, and spoilers ahead, so plug your ears if you don't want to be spoiled. For the first time in Rainbow Six history, the organization known as G2 can successfully claim that they have won a map, as G2 is currently up 1-0 at the moment. They are 1 map away from advancing further on towards their goal of possibly making the quarterfinals. I don't know. I don't know if they want to make the quarterfinals. That's up to them.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard comeback for Mogit in that game to try to crawl it back when you keep 1 map ahead for the G2. But yeah, let's get back to this game. We have the site set up now, and we will see Fnatic attacking from the garage side, so they will push for the cash room garage area. But there is PCD holding a garage balcony, and this is what I was saying. If you take this area and just deny the drones, deny the information, just burn some time. You don't need to actually fight for it. Just burn time as much as you can.
PCD in a position where he could go for a great shot there onto Lusty as the wall opens up, but cannot connect the kills he needs. Or Magnet, my apologies. From outside of the garage, Neofighter will get stunned from the Yokai drone, and it does look like they may have lost the Yokai drone, but there's still 1 in play in garage, and Vog will move it back up to the top, but have a bit of a difficulty sticking to the ceiling.
And here we have Capcan also roaming in the launch area, so the Lonely Jaeger actually has support from the launch area, so if these guys from Fnatic tries to take the garage, Capcan will rush to the launch area, launch door, garage door, and shoot them with a crossfire. And here comes the Termite, tries to open the wall. There is Bandit, but he's not ready to juggle, so... Oh, he actually is, and there it goes.
So a good juggle, and Julio successful. They've also lost Magnet, now Neofighter down as well. Nip is in a great spot to put themselves on a match point here. It's just over a minute remains in the round. Aces, Rizraz, and Lusty in a 3v5 and an unenviable position of trying to figure out how to attack Garage, as PZD still there. Lusty won in a great shot. He'll thread the needle, and Aces is gone. That means Rizraz and Lusty, last 2 alive. Nip poised to strike.
If you have a Sophia alive and you have a Termite, you want to open that wall before you have the garage. You need the Sophia, and there goes Sophia down. He will pick himself up if he has the time, but the eco drone will give the information from the Jaeger, and there he goes. PCD taking the double kill. Nice play from PCD, taking 3 kills in overall in that round.
And a good start from Fnatic has faded, as Nip is now just firing on all cylinders. They are 1 round away from taking map number 1. And pushing us onwards. Now, like I said before, this is a rematch from the 6 Invitational. Now, Fnatic is doing a lot better. They've won, I believe they've won more rounds in this matchup alone than they did against the team that was known as Black Dragons, but I honestly do not have the information in front of me in regards to exactly what it was, but I do know it was a pretty big drubbing. And even though at the time they were known as Mind Freak, they made it to the quarterfinals after beating Team Liquid in the group stages. Interesting to see how they stack up against Ninjas and Pyjamas, because they haven't really had a lot of experience playing Brazilian teams outside of these international events, and their record is mixed.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of experience playing any team outside the APAC region.
That is very true.
All the stats we have is from the APAC games, so it's really hard to judge their team. Is it good or bad in international events? So this is the place for them to prove themselves. But yeah, back to the last round where the Sophia and Termite was trying to open that. Lonely Termite was trying to open the server wall. You can do it with Sophia, but you need to put the Sophia to the drone hole. So you rappel next to the drone hole and you shoot the stun grenades from the drone hole to deny the bandit juggle.
Right.
And that way you can actually deny the juggle and open up the wall, but they didn't do it, so Bandit had an easy juggle there.
Julio just literally popped right in, bandit tricked, and then got out of there. And of course, it's much easier to bandit trick that Thermite if you've only got 1 of 2 tiny walls in front of you, which is the case. Obviously not as difficult as it could be on a larger set of panels on, say, Consulate, for example. We'd have to deal with the 3 garage panels. It's a bit simpler here, so. But Ninjas in Pyjamas now, with the way that the rotation works, they're going to be in Master Bedroom. And of course, they have won every single defensive round. The only 2 offensive victories have come from NIP in rounds 2 and 5. Outside of that, it has been all defense all down.
Yeah, this looks pretty similar setup as we saw last time. They do have the smoke, they do have the echo with the shoddy. So they're doing similar setup. They actually tear off the top part of all the Termite walls to actually have the impact crate ready for every single wall Fnatic might want to termite charge. So really good play from NIP, and it's match point. So the pressure is on Fnatic.
And important for Psycho to hold on to those impacts. Now, it looked like Lusty spotted that Valkyrie cam, and indeed he did. It gets taken out. So they know that there was a Valkyrie cam playing inside of the CCTV area that will no longer be there. So PZD will discover as he goes on. There's still a second. It's just facing a different angle, looking in towards Cash. So they still have some intel available for them. The other one is outside. Just a great angle on the roof. And NIP has been jumping out of windows, or at least in a couple rounds, prep themselves to jump out of windows, and this is no exception here, as PCD could be able to just hop out and get a kill if somebody decides to push Master or Gym.
This camera will be really crucial in the late round if it gets there, because usually late round people jump in from the Gym window and the Mastery window, so you will get the early warning that there is people near the windows or jumping in from the windows, and you see if there's claymores or not, so you can actually do your jump out yourself. So that's really nice camera from PCD.
It also looked like they might have just gotten one of the exothermic charges. I can't exactly tell, but there you go. Psycho's going to jump out, and Ace is done for, and that's the camera, as you mentioned, not even necessarily in the late round, as we're only halfway there.
Yeah, you saw it there. There's no claymore. The Valkyrie keeps the information. Thatcher close to the windows. Jump out, kill him, easy kill.
Just misses. A C4 gets tossed through that unreinforced wall towards Workshop, where Rizraz is playing, but there's no damage that needs to be worried. Rizraz will remain unscathed.
And the clock is burning down all the time, and we see Magnet doing nothing. He's just looking at the wall. He's not even droning, so that's interesting. Maybe they're talking to the team what they actually want to do, and this is what you need to do as an IGL. Command your team, have a plan, and execute. So that looked like a moment where he's just telling his team what to do.
And this is the time to do it. I mean, they do have a tactical timeout that would have been available to use before this round, likely saving it for a more dire scenario should they find themselves facing a, serious point against them in map number 2 or even map number 3, depending on how this goes. But you mentioned the clock burning, and indeed it is. We're at 30 seconds now. And look at that. They're just waiting to push in, but once again, Psycho in a position to possibly strike through the window. This camera being oh so critical, but they will double up on him, and Psycho will not last too long, as Neofighter will get credited with the kill, as a bunch of bullets will hit, and now the bathroom is going to be the point of contact. Vog on a flank will take out Rizraz. That's the Echo trying to get into sight, and he's there to greet everybody who goes in through the window, but Magnet, the IGL, will do most of the work. He'll try to take one out, but it's NIP with PZD, 2 big kills, and that will be the match. Or that will be the map. And we'll move on to map number 2 as Ninjas in Pyjamas takes Clubhouse by a score of 6-3.
Really nice hold from NIP, and that camera was so crucial in the end. They got 1 kill from it, and then they saw the push. They saw the 3 guys are next to the Gym window, next to Mastery window. They know that the push is will come from there, because there's only 1 guy missing. He's probably somewhere cast or Workshop, so easy flank for Echo as well, getting the kill to the lonely guy, and then just trying to flank the rest of the guys, and awesome round from NIP.
So it was a good start in the first couple rounds for Fnatic, but the big issue after that was they got not gifted the round, but that huge clutch from Aces in order to kill everybody and then get the defuse was pretty remarkable, but wasn't exactly a sign that they were firmly in control, because that's a pretty, I wouldn't say lucky, but they were very fortunate to have that round in the way they did. Can't really account for a 1v4 clutch like that.
No, and it was really chaotic, like all the time, even in defense, and especially in the attacks, especially when they attacked the bottom floor. You saw they get the blue and push from the blue to the arsenal, and there's no one to help them with the diffuser. It was just messy from Fnatic all the time. Well,
there's plenty of things to say. Where our highlights here are just a couple for you from the match that we just watched, and we'll wait for our second map of the day to see where we wind up. Is it going to be a 2-0? Is it going to be a 2-1? And here you go. Here's Aces just shredding everybody, and of course, There's quite a lot of bullets in that gun. It's the huge, I suppose, belt-fed LMG, and then the Hail Mary shot through the soft wall, possibly for a call from the team onto Julio, was really a remarkable feat, and it was huge that that happened for them. But other than that, the only thing that Fnatic really had to show for was the 2 rounds in the first 3. So not exactly the most impressive showing from the Aussies.
No. If you win all your defenses, it's quite easy to take the match because you don't need that many attack rounds, and that's what NIP did.
Absolutely. So we're just going to queue up for our second matchup, and our second map. Like, I keep interchanging map and match today. I have no idea why. It's just something that pops into my head. But we're going to go to Coastline, and Fnatic is going to start on defense. So we'll head to Spain, which we were just in Spain not too long ago. Maybe not in this particular venue, but we'll head to Spain and we'll see how Coastline does any different. Now, from your experience playing against NIP, strategies that they would want to employ on Coastline here to knock the Aussies down to the lower bracket.
Well, there's the one operator I would wanted them to use in this map, because if you push with the glass to the penthouse, it's really hard for the defenders to hold it. Same goes, of course, for the kitchen area or the pink bar, blue bar defense. So, good pick as a ban. There goes the Blackbird again. Interesting ban. That why is it the Blackbird already getting all the time getting banned? Well, in this map it makes more sense than in Clubhouse, because there is the big window in Penthouse that Blackbird pretty much dominates. It's really hard to challenge him from there, so it kind of makes sense to ban it.
And of course the Glass being taken out. The Glass was banned by, it says blue team, orange team at the top, in case you're curious. The blue team is Ninjas in Pyjamas, the orange team is Fnatic. So of course the first thing they ban is a Glass, knowing how much power Psycho brings with that operator.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to face the Glass on Coastline, it's just way too powerful.
Especially with the amount of opportunities where the sites are right by an open door or an open window. You just pop a smoke and maybe somebody gets in, maybe you employ a Montaigne. I'm thinking specifically about both kitchen as well as the 2 bar situation. Having a Glass, any Glass, let alone Psycho, on Glass is obviously a very powerful position.
Yeah, and there comes the last ban, Valkyrie. I would say that's one of the better bans for this map, because it's a huge outside area that's outside of the map, so you can throw all those 3 camps outside and you have a lot of information what the enemy team is doing. So Valkyrie ban makes sense.
And these are direct counter bans as well. Fnatic banning both Glaz as well as Valkyrie, because we know how much of a nuisance both of them were in the previous matchup. So they literally they exit the matchup and they go, we didn't like dealing with these. We know how powerful Valkyrie was being run consistently. We knew how what the Glass could do. Let's take care of them, and we can work around the other operators they may bring, be it a Montaigne, be it a Heartbreacher, etc.
I'm actually thinking we might see Ying in this one, because usually when you ban Ying, Glass, you take Ying. You have one or the other in this map. So. And
Ying in particular on Coastline, very, very powerful, especially if you're trying to push in through penthouse or theater, especially in the kitchen and delivery area. It really locks down the defenders and just allows you to just come right in to the site.
And NIP likes to blade. We have seen them played.
Right.
Even Valencia here, so already in last map, so it's an operator they are more than willing to play.
Right. Good fragging potential. We saw Magnet run a Ying at the very tail end of Clubhouse. Now, didn't bear as much fruit, I think, as he was hoping for. Of course, a Ying can absolutely dominate a push, right? You know, I have, just as a caster, I didn't even need to play during this, but I have flashbacks and nightmares to Lion Dokkaebi Ying pushes, and it's like, I'm just a caster, but I'm getting shell-shocked watching this.
Yeah, it's like, if you move, you get drilled through the walls because the Lion is up. You have the Dokkaebi, so the phone is ringing, so the Ying will know where you are, and then you have all the flashes popping off your face, so it's pretty damn annoying to play against that.
Yeah.
Especially on the penthouse defense, because when the Ying comes from the toilet area, he just smokes off the side so that you don't get drilled there. So the guys can actually push to the big window or to the bedroom area to plant the bomb, and he just Yings the first room, Yings the second room, and just runs in, and then usually throws the third Candela as well to just cover his ass when he finally enters the last room. So it's just one guy takes the whole side, and it's, what can you do?
Not much. Not a whole lot.
C4.
Not a whole lot. It's great.
It's C4 and Bray.
Yeah, it's or maybe hope that there's a Maestro there or bulletproof camera, etc. to try and maybe stop them. But crazy to think that back in the day Ying had smokes as well. Just Let's just give her everything, right?
Yeah.
So, but now great fragging potential on her. LMG still has a slow rate of fire, but it packs a much bigger punch. Of course, the trade-off was that she lost her smokes, which I think was a good change.
It needed change because
Much needed change.
Because before that he denied the vision and then flashed and running.
Yeah.
But now he only can flash in. So when you hear the Candela popping out, you actually have the couple seconds to peek him.
Yeah.
Before you couldn't even do that.
And even then, you can also possibly shoot the Candela.
We never see that.
You never see somebody be able to get a shot off on it. Usually when it's primed for a while and it takes a while for it to go off, you can shoot it, but usually you're still going to get one or two, of course. So it'll be very interesting to see with the Glaz ban. Fnatic, of course, doing their target bans. They banned Hibana and Alibi previously. So once again, hard countering players on NIP. So these are target bans rather than just general bans. Now, you know, like a Mira ban is usually not a target ban necessarily. Sometimes Echo is not necessarily a target ban. And then, of course, there are certain teams that will ban operators like we saw with the Ying ban on Obey. They just don't like playing against a Ying. Obviously, nobody really does. But they ban based on their preference. The difference here being that just Fnatic trying to deliberately take people out of the fight, and of course it was Psycho that was playing the Legion and then also the Glaz, so they've taken his operator out of the fight on attack, and then on defense they've taken PZD's Valkyrie away.
Yeah, and now we have the Lion on board, so there's no surprise Kamikaze is going for it. He really likes to play it. He almost always plays it when it's available, so there it is once again. And it's going to be a blue bar, Sunrise bar, first defense, so you could say one of the better sides at the moment because it used to be in like Clubhouse. Penthouse used to be the main side to go for, but now with the Ying, Dokkaebi, Glaz, all the good operators, you actually want to go for different sides. So this is not surprised that they start from the pink bar and blue bar.
Yeah, and of course you see the Lion coming out. Julio will bring his favorite shield operator as well to the fun, so that will really be something and a sight to behold. You've got the fragging potential of the Ashe as well as the Sledge. You've got a Blitz, and then you've got Lion to keep everybody pinned down. It is going to be a massacre if they can use it and it doesn't get countered correctly by Fnatic. It's
a really scary moment to be when Lion pops out and you can hear the Blitz running towards you. And it's do you escape and get popped through the walls, or do you actually want to try to fight the Blitz? But yeah, there's two maps. Julio likes to play the Blitz. This is the one of them, and the other one is Oregon. So no surprise that he's actually bringing out the Blitz. And yeah, there goes the side pop up. We have Echo again with the shorty. And this side kind of makes sense because you have the close range to fight when you play the bar table area in Sunrise. And there is the smoke in the corner, so the rest of the guys are most likely going to be playing from the upstairs because you really want to hold the upstairs hookah area and also the pool table area so that the enemy team doesn't get the angles towards you from there.
And your suspicion that we would see a Ying right away, or at least in general we'll have to hold off. You've got the Lion fulfilling that more disruption, confusion style of role that the Ying would usually have. And it'll free up Psycho to just play Ashe though too. And I mean, obviously the way you play around a Glaz strategy is totally different, but Psycho on Ashe is still a pretty frightening thing.
Yeah, exactly. And here we see NIP taking the VIP area first. We will have PCD taking the first kill to Magnet to the pool table. Really nice shot from the PCD. Magnet was trying to shoot the VIP area with a spray fire, so PCD just returned to fire and got the kill. I would think Sledge will take the wall. Wall down from the NIP and hold the angle towards the pool table from now. But this is actually a really nice push from the NIP because usually teams, when you see them play the coastline and attack this bump site, they go from the aquarium and then push to the pool table and to the hookah. But the NIP first took the VIP area, then the penthouse, and then they went to the luggage and to the aquarium. So they will have the map control of the top floor pretty much to themselves. And they know that they're not going to get flanked. So really nice attack.
And so far. Right now, Rizraz was playing on those cool vibe stairs. He also had the mute jammer not too far off of him, and there's an echo drone positioned above. You'll see PZD and Julio will try to take some of that ground away from Fnatic as the EE1D keeps everyone from moving on defense. but Julio will peel off. Rizraz, who was playing on Cool Vibe Stairs, has worked his way back to site, and that's good clock management for Fnatic. All they lost was Magnet, so it's imperative that they try to consolidate on site. You've done an okay job of wearing down the clock. You lost somebody, which is obviously a detriment, but you need to ensure that when this push happens, that you're there. Julio will go for the flash onto the smoke, and the gas grenade will get tossed at the feet of Blitz, who you can see Ace is losing a lot of health. The sign of Kamikaze's gun going off, but a grenade from PZD will sail right in. No ADS. Looks like another will go in onto Lusty. He'll be detected, but he'll have to use one of his smoke grenades. Kamikaze will get one, Psycho another, and this is all Ninjas in Pyjamas as PZD shuts down Lusty, and Nip will take round number 1.
Nice execution from an NIP. First take the map control, then execute to the side. Have the top floor control. Don't then allow any flanks to come out from an IP. Have the guy on garden to watch out the blue area, and then just pour all the guys to the side and kill the defenders. Really nice execution from an IP. And we go to the next round, which is now Penthouse Theater. So the old go-to site from Fnatic.
I was pretty certain Valkyrie was banned. Was I wrong?
Valkyrie was banned.
Yeah, and there we go. So it was Fnatic who actually banned Valkyrie. So may need a change. May need a change. So we'll probably see us on the monitor here. At least it'll give. I mean, this kind of thing does at least give some room for the teams to at least communicate with each other, as it's not exactly a tactical pause, but they at least get some more time as the game gets set back up. And honestly, like as you mentioned about Magnet, you need to make sure that there's somebody there to keep guiding that team. And the way that they played that final round on Clubhouse, round number 9, with Magnet staring at the wall, probably giving his team instructions, etc., it killed about 20 to 30 seconds of the clock in that round in particular, just trying to figure out, what do we do next? Yeah. They need to ensure that they're managing their emotion levels and all that sort of deal, because so much of it can get in your head, and it really begins to affect your gameplay.
Why do you think I always die first? So that I can micromanage my team.
Is that why?
Yeah. You go in and can you shoot me so I can actually manage my team?
I mean, it's a sound strategy, I guess. You're basically admitting that you're giving your team a permanent 4v5, so that's okay. This is an IGL. He captains a team. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not gonna make a joke.
Easy friends.
I was gonna make a joke. I'm not gonna make the joke.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make the joke. Jokes make themselves. Jokes make themselves.
But if you die as a first member as an IGL, like Magnet did in the last round, first one to die, it usually means that, okay, you might get tilted if it was like something that you didn't like to.
Right.
You felt like you get outplayed, or your position was poor, so you might be angry to yourself, but you need to put that aside and start instantly to manage your team, because you're dead. You can see all the cams, you can see all the pubs of the players, so that's actually a good place to be as an IGL. Dead. Sounds weird, but you can actually...
No, I think you're saying that, you know, you've been handed, obviously you don't want to die, but I mean, if your IGL is going to die first, and that's an advantageous position to be in, because then you can kind of look over everything and make the decisions and adjustments, which can be more difficult when you're still an active player trying to manage yourself and the position you're in.
Exactly. When you see everything, you can make those calls that, okay, you move here, you watch that, and you watch that one. You flank from here, and wait, okay, you are there. Just wait 10 seconds and then come, because the push is going to come soon. So there's a lot more room in your head to think about all these possibilities when you don't need to concentrate your own game. So yeah, I would say if there's one guy to die first, the IGL is the best one to die first.
For Fnatic, if you can look, they don't look particularly happy, which is fine, which is to be expected of. But they're a very emotional team. We know this. We know how they got in their own heads at Atlantic City. It led to a very quick downfall against Team Liquid, and that game really snowballed and got out of reach quite fast. So the bans should be set up appropriately. We'll head to round number 2. Of course, Ninjas in Pyjamas had banned Blackbeard, and Mira and Fnatic had banned Glaz and Valkyrie. And that seems to all be sorted and in working order.
Yeah. Finally, we have the proper operators, and we see the Penthouse Theater side against, because you cannot change that. But here we go.
Penthouse Theater once again. or my apologies, not once again, but Fnatic once again on defense, they'll go to Penthouse Theater, and we'll see what they'll be able to do here. Of course, Echo seems like a pretty safe pick as always, and in combination and in conjunction with a Maestro. It is a bit puzzling to see us go through now 2 maps with neither one of those operators get hit with the ban.
No 6 picks from NIP, so maybe they're confident with the lineup, or they just want to make some brain games with mind games with their opponent. But we will see the Maestro. I personally really like Maestro on this side because you can actually deny those breach charges quite well with the Evil Eye. You can hide the Evil Eye in so many locations to shoot the termite charges. Like they are reinforcing the VIP wall, so it looks like they want to deny the opening of that wall. So personally, I would like to see one Maestro cam inside of the VIP, maybe hidden, maybe not, but that's one way to deny the opening of that. And then one Evil Eye is watching the big window, which is pretty crucial because there's almost always one guy rappelling there.
Right.
Attackers have recovered.
So for Fnatic trying to stop the bleeding, as they haven't had the best day for their team thus far. Nip playing like old Nip, which is nice to see because it has been a while since I think we've seen the prowess of this team. I don't know, like you said earlier on, I don't know if it was necessarily because it's a best-of-1 system. I don't know if maybe, you know, the team just has been outpaced by, you know, improvements from other teams. It's always hard to tell, but I think you can certainly say that this team is not the team that competed at the Invitational. This is not the same team that we saw compete in Sao Paulo in terms of their success.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say they are a LAN team. So
yes,
also on the Brazilian league at the moment, they play online, the playing games, right?
Every single game is played in a LAN setup, yes.
Still.
The BR6? BR6, they play, in BR6 they do play against opponents in person, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And to the best of my knowledge, they are currently sitting in the top 4. Unfortunately, I do not keep up to date with BR6, so I suppose as much as I really should. But I believe they are one of the top 4 teams that will be competing in the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
And have done better there. And yeah, the best-of-1 series is very difficult for us to then turn to best-of-3s and really try to draw some, you know, comparisons, because best-of-1s just play so differently in terms of operator bans, in terms of map bans, in terms of preparation, and especially for teams that, you know, if you have a bad day, that's it, it's done. You don't have an opportunity to have a second bad map.
Yeah, and you don't have time to adjust.
Right.
If the enemy team has some new tricks under their sleeve, you really don't have time to adjust to that. Or if they usually play passive and they suddenly start to play aggressive, it can actually caught you off guard because you don't have the time to adjust.
Right.
So maybe that's one of the reasons why NIP is at the 7th place in the LATAM Pro League at the moment. But here we see the wall to the mastery open from the VIP, so no denial for that.
And you were mentioning Nip in particular, and they've managed to open up with some vertical pressure. Julio will wade into the Hall of Fame. Lion's Gadget will roar, and a smoke will go onto Big Window, which is where PZD was repelled. But we have gone through most of this round at this point. Psycho has managed to get to the top of the stairs. He'll miss the Jaeger, but he will finally get him as that's Magna going down. Rizraz eliminating PZD. Psycho getting so close. Good reflexes. Wasn't good enough to start with, but we're at a 4v4. Neofighter from just behind the bed will toss out his C4, but now Psycho working his way towards Theater. Of course, the Maestro playing behind a deployable shield will deny Psycho the ability to get a kill, and that's Aces who will now push, but I think he is aware that there is a Lion Gadget. Kamikaze will get one, but Aces through the wall, finishing off Psycho. Kamikaze deeply in sight. What is going on? Kamikaze will take out Neofighter, but all they need to do if you're Fnatic is survive. Listen to the BGs staying alive, and the defenders will win. So Fnatic will put their first round on the board in over half an hour here. That's what they need in order to stay in this game.
Yeah, and it came down all again to the NIP's like inability to take the control over the map. Like they pushed the guys to the master bedroom, to the toilet, and the B-bomb side, but they didn't have guys to kill those rotations. Like, why is the toilet hatch still closed?
Right.
To allow the smoke to play there. If you have a smoke there, he has a shotgun to hold the door right next to him. That's like the easiest kill for him. you need to open the hatch from the toilet, have one guy there, so once you finally go for the push, he drops down there, denies the smoke to play there all that time, so the only place he can play is close to the window, or at the master bedroom, or they need to play all the way from the B-bomb side. So, yeah, you need to open up more lines of side to side to actually push the enemies where you want them to be, and then execute to the side.
Fnatic will now head back to the double bar scenario, which we saw last time around was all nip the whole way through. And part of that was Fnatic's inability to hold that second floor. They didn't really get much. They lost a pick early on, and then when they had to collapse on the site, they then got collapsed upon with the Lion and Blitz combo, which is not going to be there for them this time around. They're going to, of course, be bringing the Lion yet again. Kamikaze running the Lion setup. Psycho will just stay on Ashe. He's taking his glass away. He's just going to play on the Ashe. And you'll have Julio play on Zofia, which means that there's going to be a lot of disruption and utility coming from him at the moment.
Personally, I like it that you don't play the Blitz all the time, because enemies will know that the Blitz is coming, so they might adjust it, try to kill it with multiple people or throw C4 or something. Oh, looks like a rush. It's going to be a rush. Psycho is already in, kills the Echo, easy kills, second kill Smokesters as well. So he's right there, there's no one to hold this push.
20 seconds, and they're in, but Rizraz will answer back. Do they have complete control? Psycho will get one, Magnet will trade it off, and Magnet with another. The Legion just unprovoked. Diffuser goes down, and Wog will watch. PZD will get a kill of his own, and Neophyter, last man standing, but he's getting pinged. He knows the marks. He gets the down onto Vog, and PZD is last man left. Vog will not be provided an opportunity to be a living drone, as he will get taken out himself, but PZD is there to close it out, and that round was over before it even started. The Zofia Ashe combo to blow open the castle barricades combined with the EE1D. Nothing Fnatic could do there at all except wait to die, and Nip will regain the lead.
Pop out the Lion ability and then rush in. Old way. Gotta go fast, man.
You gotta go fast indeed, and that is exactly what happened. That is I feel like that's peak Latin America. We see it in Latin America so many times, especially on Oregon. You'll see Lion, think possible shield rushes through construction, and it is really a sight to behold.
Yeah. But that's actually working, because most of the time when you play that side, you need to hold the top floor. So you have 3 people there, 1 people in blue, 1 people in pink. So if you rush the pink with 5 guys, it's 1 versus 5. So you're really likely going to kill that guy and get the blend down. So kinda, I can see the idea behind that from the NIP, but you have the Echo there to get the information that the rush is coming, so the rotation must be faster at that point. Right. And also, there was no holes from the above. You need to have the holes from the above to actually shoot the guys that are rushing in, because if you have guys playing from the upstairs, you're holding it, you need to have some way for them to actually be part of the defense if the enemy's not going for them.
I'm not even certain if they had finished their setup by the time that rush had happened. They could have possibly still been tinkering above with what they wanted as the clock hit 0 and Nip was in.
That's actually a thing I used to do quite a lot for my team. When I watch the WOTS of my opponents, I watch how long does it take for them to set the side up. Because there's Secret is actually a good example. They have one of the slowest setups for most sides in EU. So you can there are maps where you can actually use that to your advantage. So it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly who we were talking to, but it was after a Pro League match in particular. I asked one of the team captains, you know, you rushed 2 or 3 times, etc. And their response was, we know it takes them a while. We know that when they defend this site, they're usually still setting up at this time. And we know that we can take advantage of that by just going through this entry point, because usually they don't have people there. It's a pretty glaring weakness. And that's part of the power of the VOD review. I think people forget how crucial going over and picking apart these strategies are in order to work effectively against the teams. It was something that Liquid did effortlessly in Atlantic City, was they would literally have 3 people drone Neskin, find exactly where there was nobody there, and just send Neskin with 3 drones to kill 1 or 2 people. And by that point, you have such a big advantage that the rest just kind of fits together and you end up winning the round. They won a championship basically off of that strategy by taking out a couple teams.
Yeah. And here we have NIP closing out, this time taking the top floor control quite fast. Actually, they have the aquarium already. The Echo drone is watching the ass, but now there is the guys in the pool table to hold it. So last time Magnet died, but now he's alive. So Fnatic has a better chance to actually hold this.
Psycho's in. Of course, they do have that information available for him. The castle could not, the castle might not be able to make it out of this alive. As you can see, there's a couple defenders actually that are all working their way in, but Aces on that Yokai drone is just going to continuously give information not to peek. Look at how close Fnatic is to Nip at the moment.
So it's, in reality, it's 3.5 guys holding the top floor because there are 3 guys playing, and then there's an Echo giving the information. So this looks way better for Fnatic at the moment, but Sledge is so close getting the kill, and there it goes! Psycho getting the kills last. Nice headshot with the SMG element. Oh, it's actually PCD.
two will get down, and yet the castle, the one that they were tracking all along, remarkably still alive, but 2 bodies playing on the Cool Vibe stairs. That's Rizraz. Will punish PZD, but Neofighter, the castle who had just scampered off of Cool Vibe stairs, well, he's not much left at all. Aces and Rizraz last 2 remaining, and that will be Rizraz punished as the Lion does the work himself. Aces last man standing. This coastline for Fnatic not looking like what it needs to, but we've seen this time and time again on coastline. If you are winning your defenses, you are in really good shape. Attackers should be running rough sod over the defenders, and that is exactly what is happening with Nip right now as they stretch their lead to 3-1, heading into the final map, or the final round, rather, of the first half.
It used to be so easy to hold the sides in coastline, but now it feels like, for me personally, that the attacks are actually quite easy. We had just practice not a long time ago against one EU team, and we were losing our defenses 1-4, and they actually asked that why we are playing so bad. And then we switched the attack, and it was 5-5 in the end, so yeah.
That's the kind of thing. There's maps that have that, it's not even necessarily just maps, but also sites where it's you as an attacker really should probably be running up the wins. And there's a lot of teams that insist that defending on coastline is one of the most arduous things to do in this game. It's very painful, it's very tough to do. It's not particularly enjoyable, and you should really, realistically be running up the score on attack. And that's exactly what's happening, like I said, with Nip right now.
Yeah, exactly. One thing we haven't seen so far is Buck, which is kind of weird because usually when the penthouse defense is being held, like Fnatic's doing right now, you want to bring Buck. Go to the main lobby and shoot the floor under the A-bomb side and the B window, and then be behind the hatch area, so you have pretty easy take to the side after that.
So we do have an update for you, by the way, so close your ears if you don't like spoilers. I don't have to keep saying that, but I know people will be unhappy if we just happen to be like, oh, by the way. Mocket just absolutely annihilated G2 on Villa. So now we are all tied up at 1 apiece. Intriguing that G2 would have Villa get through the ban phase unless they were prepared for it. But it was quite a lopsided matchup.
Not actually a surprise for me because I would say G2 is the best team in EU at the Villa at the moment, but it seems I'm wrong. So
Mocket just absolutely crushed them. I believe it was either a 6-0 or a 6-1, somewhere along those lines. But it was very fast. I remember we got I don't know if you heard it, the production comes on and makes a comment being like, okay, G2 won the first map. All right, cool. It seems like moments later they're like, yeah, Mocket won map 2. Okay, that was quick.
And here we go, the penthouse attack starts from the kitchen, so they would want to deny that there's no poles, no one with the C4 from downstairs to try to kill the Termite or the planter once they finally get the VIP wall open, so taking the downstairs first is quite normal for the attacker.
As you said, if you run a Buck, you want them to be positioned below. A Buck is not a staple operator for Ninjas in Pyjamas. In fact, Buck is not a staple operator for Latin America as a region. They will typically prefer Sledge. Sledge brings a number of things to the table, but one of them is not vertical play, unless you happen to be trying to go from above to below because you don't have what the Skeleton Key provides for you, which is the ability to shoot ceilings above you.
Yeah, it's 200 short. Like Sledge is easier against Castle, whereas Buck is easier overall, but the weapons are more poor. Psycho takes the first kill to Neohiter, and it was through the floor. Yeah, he made the... No, it was actually in the main lobby. He shot the hatch and killed the guy from the hatch.
Shot the hatch as Neofighter was prone on, and that was the exact same position Neo was in before, if you recall, playing as a smoke. He had a deployable shield in his way last time. but he also had the ability to see 4 when the push came from VIP. That's exactly what he did last time in the one successful round that we saw for Fnatic. And of course, the only defense that Fnatic won was simply literally a war of attrition. They just had one body left alive in the back of Penthouse when 2 members of NIP were inside of, or my apologies, in theater when 2 were alive inside of Penthouse.
Yeah, this is so crucial position for this attack. Holding the window, holding the angles, giving them information for your team that there is one guy still there, because I'm pretty sure he also realized, oh, and there he goes, Psycho gets to kill the Rizraz, and now it's pretty much easy side take for the NIP because there's only 2 guys left. They are at the A side, and there comes the Sophia stuns.
It's just really a blast, isn't it? Now, of course, Lusty also concussed. They cannot stop the plant from going down. It will be successful for NIP, and now all NIP needs to do is just hold on, but they will continue to peek and right into Magnet's crosshairs. But Kamikaze will manage to come through the backside of the site, or rather get a kill through the backside of the site as Julio works his way just to try and cover. There's almost no way that Magnet is getting out of this alive, and the first split will go 4-1 in NIP's favor. Now it's incumbent upon Fnatic to run up the score here because NIP only needs 2 successful defenses. That is a tall order on Coastline usually, but today just does not look like Fnatic's day at all. This is a return to form for NIP.
It will come down to the attack so hard. Like, is Fnatic gonna be doing the same as NIP, taking the 4 rounds from an attack, taking this to the OT?
Right.
This, I would say, this is the map to do it. So they have the chance, but I think this is the moment. If Fnatic takes the first round, they will get some motivation boost. But if it's gonna be 5-1, it's just you are gonna be so down after that. It's going to be a hard one for Fnatic to climb up from that.
I mean, if you're Fnatic, you're searching for just a victory of any kind, because since round 4 of Clubhouse, you have put together a grand total of 1 round victories. That's it. That's a long time to go with only 1 win in a round to your name, and that's obviously going to take a moral or a mental toll on a team that we know is very emotional as a team. We know can get demotivated, and as you said, you need that motivation in order to regain that footing.
This is the mind games that you need to do by yourself, because 1-4 in Coastline is nothing new. You just need to realize that, okay, we lost 4-1. In most maps it would be a pretty bad situation, but in this map it's quite normal, so just concentrate on your own gameplay, play like you used to, and take those attack rounds, and take it by round after round, 1 round at a time.
Intriguing so far that we've only seen Bar and Penthouse get played. Now, mind you, that was because Fnatic didn't really need to deal with a site rotation because they weren't winning with their defense. The only defensive round they won, Penthouse, they just went to the double bars again the second time. Obviously, Hookah is not a site that we see with any regularity. It is traditionally the least played site by appearance in Pro League, and then of course the same at LAN, but I'm surprised that we haven't seen Kitchen. I wonder how much of that hinges on the fact that there's no Mira available, because Mira of course makes Kitchen so much easier to play off of.
Exactly, Mira is one reason why people want to play Kitchen, but also when you have Maestro, it makes it easier to play that, because you can put one Maestro Eye, Evil Eye to the Kitchen side, you have all the control of that, and then you kind of have one on the Kitchen door, or the freezer door, and you can see that. So yeah, I'm also surprised we haven't seen that, because I actually think it's pretty good side, and there's multiple plays of one playing it. You can play it from the side, or you can open all the walls and play it from the upstairs.
Right. And one of the things that Clubhouse has going for it is that almost every single site has so much destruction, not just linear, but also vertical, as well. You're going to see Psycho get very aggressive as the Echo and completely throw his utility to waste as Magnet is on Repel and doesn't even take a single bit of damage. But Julio with a double run out, a big play to take out Rizraz and Lusty before Neofighter can trade him off. But you take out the Hard Breacher, the sole Hard Breacher that Fnatic has available for them, as well as the Zofia. A gamble by Julio that I think is very well worth it.
Exactly. Once you kill the Hibana, there's no way for them to open up the VIP, so you need to come from the doorways, which are quite easy to hold when you have those ACOGs on 3 defenders still left alive.
Now, Neofighter right there just showed a great bit of impatience. You had PZD who's lying prone. You could have lined up that shot a lot easier, but he didn't take his time. He just started firing haplessly, and PZD, who was overhealed, just takes a little bit of damage, but that could have been a confirmed kill for Fnatic, most of whom are currently on Repel as we hit the final minute. Magnet has worked his way into Hall of Fame, trying to see if he can connect with the Doc. He'll get drawn out by Neofighter, but Kamikaze will pop up. And that's the double ACOG of these two GIGN operators from PZD and Kamikaze getting put to good use.
He should have never been able to rotate there to take the re-kill because they had the guy on the window. Why wasn't he holding it? And now Kamikaze takes a nice double head. Nice run from Kamikaze, taking 3 kills in the end.
And this is match point and series point for NiP, who will take the defensive round and do so without barely breaking a sweat. They got very aggressive. They took the Echo out of action real early on. Fnatic were in great shape, but then Julio with the run out to take out the Hard Breacher, as well as the Zofia, which is just a ton of gadgetry that will no longer be available for you. Though all those reinforcements, they're going to stay fine. All the possible headaches that those 4 concussive mines and the 2 lifeline explosive grenades can give you, gone.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it just looked like Fnatic was demotivated, as you said. You've got them crouch walking through the open spaces. Obviously, the weight of this match taking its toll. And NiP is just thriving on it. You can see the elation and enthusiasm as, of course, they celebrate the fact that they are 1 round away from facing the winner of G2 versus Market.
Before, when you know that there is only one Heart Breacher on the team, that they have been banning Termite or Hibana, in this case not, but if it is that situation, you kill the Heart Breacher, the thing that I want to see the most from the IGLs is to actually call to the guys that have the barbed wire, take all your barbed wire, gather it together and put it to all the entrance points, because there's no way to come through the walls. It happens really rarely, but it's sort of like, it's almost instant once you do it, because when you have all the barbed wires lined up, there's no way you're coming through that.
Especially if you've taken the Zofia out, because of course she can use 2 of those grenades to blow open the barbed wire. Now, of course, the real way to take out that barbed wire is just going to be to knife it twice, but it's all about wasting time at that point and making them have to wade through a sea of the razor wire, which will slow down their push.
And now we finally see the kitchen. We don't have the mirror, but we do have the Maestro, and it's Pig. So the Evil Eye placements are going to be huge, and there goes the one. It's actually straight there where normally you have the mirror window, so it's just watching the freezer doorway.
Just a nice Italian substitute on Mira's home map, of course. All the destructibility. This is something that we've actually seen G2 do a number of times, and a couple teams will ace this strategy, is that they will completely open up kitchen. Because you don't have the mirror available, you basically just make it so the whole site has no real walls and very little floors and ceiling for you.
Yeah. If you play from the upstairs, especially from the luggage area or aquarium hallway, you have pretty much the sight line to the whole kitchen area, except like the one table in the corner. So if someone jumps in from the window, walks through from the door, you get easy shots to those guys. So it's a common strategy to do it by that. Open up all the walls.
So you've got PZD once again with the ACOG playing from above. He'll sustain about 30 damage, but he'll just heal himself back up. Here's the biggest issue, is that he's going to be revealed by the Lion, and you've got 2 people from Fnatic hunting you down. But once again, Kamikaze, the double GIGN ACOG combo, as he's trying to hold off. He just narrowly misses one before Magnet is able to push into VIP and get the kill to take out the 2 thick boys of both Doc and Rook. However, there's still 2 more to go, and both Vogue and Julio running the Maestro Echo combo, and Psycho, of course, doesn't look like he had his cloaking device on, but that drone could have possibly gone by, and they could have missed the Vigil. However, the Dokkaebi of Magnet hears the K1A go off and knows that he can't begin to hack the cam because he will be vulnerable for that period of time. Psycho will return a couple bullets back towards Fnatic, but they'll basically buy some time here with the final EE1D, and Magnet looking to try to push the Vigil, but 2 from NiP. They had no business getting those kills whatsoever, but Lusty and Neofighter will be removed from action. And what is going on? Magnet gone. Psycho with the SMG-12 will spray with reckless abandon, and that is that huge magazine. A minute to go, and there is 1 member of Fnatic left. Aces will
again with wallbang. Again, 3rd time.
Aces with a good game sense here to be able to take out the Vigil, but it's a 2v1, and this is series point for NiP. They are in great position.
Yeah, it's 2 versus 1, Against Lion, that's the only thing going for them, but he doesn't have any things left, and Wack takes the kill. So GG NIP, nice game taking out Fnatic 6-1 in Coastline.
6-3 and 6-1, so some progress being made, but all Fnatic has to show are the 4 rounds that they took against an adversary that they have matched up against before. NIP will join the 2 teams that we've already seen at their victories earlier today, but I want